and think that it's reality.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something is actually strange.
So mysterious. This new music. I'm digging it.
We've now had this new, what was it? This is the
third. I think it was the
third time we've used it.
Yeah. We realized that by having Aerosmith in there might have been a detriment to our YouTube videos. So we decided to, just in case, we don't know what the future holds, and they just might come back and be like, no, you can't monetize your videos because you have Aerosmith in there. We'll give your 30 cents to Aerosmith. So thanks a lot, Aerosmith. But hey, welcome into Q Code Podcast. Today is, of course, our Dream-isode. And so just to kind of explain something, because we're now entering into a territory that I'm pretty sure our minds are going to be kind of a little messed up here with how we've recorded these. So we originally, because we had no clue that we were actually really going to be doing these episodes. This actually just started out as Danny doing these dreams, writing them down, and then we would just read them and just have fun with it. We
would record our other podcasts that we used to do, right?
Yeah, our
4340 Sports.
And then this was like a treat. It was like if we could get done with the podcast in enough time, this was our special treat, was to read these dreams. And so we got to a certain point, we got so far, I think we had read like 12 dreams. Mm. And then when we started the Q Code, we decided, you know what, this would be really cool to kind of read as an episode, because we even on our old podcast used one of these as a quick beginning to it, like an intro, and it worked well enough that we're like, we should make these into full episodes, but a sports podcast is not the right platform for these. So we decided, once we created this new podcast, that we were going to start using these as bonus episodes. And so we went back, and obviously we wanted to start from his first dream, and so we had already read those and been through them. So as you've listened to those, we've actually mentioned that we had read these. It's been a while since we've done these, but and then we got to a point where we decided, what, it would be fun. It would be more fun if we could just read these live without knowing anything about it, except for obviously Danny, who dreamt it. And because we seem to get the best reactions from all of us doing it that way. But then what we ended up doing was, just to keep things fresh, is that we would read, one week we would read a dream that we had already read previous, and then the next week we would record one that we hadn't read, and kept flip-flopping back and forth until we realized that we should just kind of go in regular order.
So it's kind of like Star Wars, right? Like the first 3 movies that came out were really 4, 5, and 6, and then they came out with 1, 2, and 3, and then they went to 7, 8, 9. But yeah, so this one, if we actually, just to tell you the actual chronological order in which we read them, because you guys as listeners will get them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way through. But it was actually like we read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, and then we went to back and forth for a couple weeks. We went 13, 7, 14.
So
8,
whenever we are recording it, I don't know exactly. Like sometimes we try and be very
cryptic.
Well, not necessarily cryptic, but just not really talk about anything that's going on in the world at the moment, because it could be completely out of date by the time you listen to it.
That's true.
And so just for fun, right now, date of recording is July 19th, which is actually my daughter's birthday. So happy birthday,
Harper.
But so it'll be interesting when this comes out, because I think we've released up to currently at this time up to 11.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, what we're reading today is the 16th.
So we're
Dream.
about a month ahead.
Yeah, we're a month ahead. So who knows what's going to be happening when you listen to this. But anyway, so that's just kind of the
football
interesting thing.
season will probably be kicking off.
Man, so excited for that. We don't have to get into that, but yeah.
It is going to be
It's
awesome.
so exciting. I get so
I'm
excited.
already like anticipating both the college and the pro seasons. So,
But so as we go into this today, because we finally caught up with all of the episodes or all of the dreams that we have previously read. So everything from this point on
it's fresh.
is all fresh, and even some of the ones that you've listened to previous, because pretty much 13, 14, and 15 are also ones that we read fresh.
So for you, like this is like the fourth one.
Yeah, for you guys, this is the fourth one, but for us, this is the first one that we're doing in chronological order that we haven't read already. Yeah. So like we've done in the previous three, I imagine, although I can't really remember them much, but
Which, by the way, those intros, or at least on 13, still has the old intro.
Yeah, so 13 still will have the old. Maybe
With Aerosmith.
it might also on 14 and 15 because we might have recorded them.
That
as
might.
who knows? See, this is what's great. We have no clue. Absolutely no clue.
You guys will know all of this by the time you hear this.
That is true. It's so weird. But the way that we're, that we're doing this now. So I actually have, you can hear it. I have the dream.
He has it
in front
upside
of me. I
down,
have it
though,
upside, yeah, I
so
have
you
it upside
can't
down.
see
I
it.
have not seen what the title is. I can kind of feel the heft in it. It's a few pages. So we're going to jump into this now so that we can get through it in a good amount of time. But this is why it's so exciting, because I have no clue what I'm going to see as I turn it over. But as I say that, we're going to now go right into the dream. So here we go. This is Dream-isode number 16. Shapeshifter scale speaker. It's like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Wait, what?
That movie.
Tinker Tells what?
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
That's an actual movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got Oldman. What's his name?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Couldn't remember his first name. All right, here we go. I finish another day at work and get off a bit early. Thus, I decide to head over to the hospital so that I can go purchase some type of scale/speaker combo they have for... What?
Like a weight scale.
We couldn't even get one sentence in before.
It's so
He's already.
Why are you going to a
I don't
hospital?
understand. This, again, they don't always make sense in real life. But in my dream, apparently that's just where you would go to purchase this
Scale
special
and speaker.
scale speaker combo.
All right, some type of scale/speaker combo
Bluetooth capabilities.
they have for sale in their gift shop. My wife saw them advertised. Hospitals advertising sales in their gift shop. Come on down to IHC's gift shop where we've got a sale
On scale speakers.
Everything must go. Mylar balloons a galore. Which I have to kind of point out, in one of the dreams, again, I can't remember exactly which number it is.
Well, the Mylar was number 8.
Okay, it was 8. So up until the dream, literally had never heard of Mylar balloons. Since the dream, I have heard it a million times on TV shows, on movies. The other day I had a job fair that I was at, and this lady was talking about delivering Mylar balloons to people, to patients in hospitals. She used words, so me and my son, we went and got some Mylar balloons. I'm like, Mylar balloons?
See, I told you. It was
And now I'm also looking, every time I go into a store and I see the balloons, I'm looking to see if they're actually called Mylar balloons. There was one store that they all said foil balloons, so I think
that's
there's a debate on
That's
it.
a terrible store.
But anyway, okay. My wife saw them advertised and really wanted one. Therefore, I thought I'd surprise her. From what I understand, this scale will play various styles of music depending on how much you weigh. Wow. If you have gained weight since your last weigh-in, the scale will play more mellow, depressing music. You just like step on the scale and it's like wah, wah, wah.
It just calls you like fatso.
You step on it. It's like, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Do you know what though? We actually should come up with like a scale
Based on weight and the music that is.
Well, but maybe it's just more of like to get people to feel bad and like lose more weight. Like
I don't think that
if you know if you like stand on it, if you had a scale and it's like you could set it at a certain like level, right? So like you're like, okay, if I cross the 200 barrier, then as soon as I stand on it, the scale says, "Ow, ow, it hurts so bad."
I'm sure there is a market for that. Okay, but I also feel that negative reinforcement when you're trying to lose weight is the worst way to go.
That's true. But then if you get to your target weight, it's like, oh, are you even standing on me right now? You feel so light.
So if you put on weight, then it plays more mellow, depressing music. But if you have maintained or lost weight, then the scale will play more energetic, upbeat music. Once I have the scale in hand, I head home to give the wife her present. When I walk through the door, she can see what I had purchased.
Dang it.
And gets very excited. She immediately opens the box to try out her new toy. She tells me that she loves it so much and would be forever grateful if I would stop by after work again tomorrow and buy a couple more of them so she can give them to her friends as gifts. I let her know that won't be a problem.
That I'm a good husband.
Of course. I'd love to spend as much money as I did on this scale, because scales are not cheap, and buy them for all of your friends. I head into work the next morning, and as I walk in, I can see that the bank has purchased some new promotional chairs that are shaped like various letters of the alphabet. You know, you're just like, I want the D. And then everybody's like, Danny, don't say that. Give me the D.
Whatever. I would have been like, I want the V.
So you just habitually, you just stepped over that line. There's the line. You crossed it.
And like, why V? You're gonna go from D. We all know what that stands for. That's not like the medical term for it. V, vagina. That's the medical term for it.
Yeah.
So,
I want the P.
the penis.
Dang it. I don't want any chairs.
Okay. I can see that we have chairs shaped like a U, a C, and a K. And that the bank across the street has one out in front in the shape of an F. I'm not proud of it, but I point this out to some of my coworkers and get a long laugh out of them. Somewhat. What aren't you proud of?
That he pointed out.
Oh, because they
Spelled
F-U-C-K. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you were just specifically making fun of the F across the street.
Why would you get a
Look at
F?
those morons. They have the F. We don't get an F. We also don't give Fs. We give 2 Fs. Just like, I'm not proud of it. Own it, Danny.
I just was pointing out that it's kind of funny.
Somewhat satisfied with my successful attempt at humor, I begin to settle into my duties for the day. Later that evening, I get off work and begin my trek toward the hospital to purchase 2 more scale speaker sets. For the second day in a row, I pull in, park, and make my way toward the gift shop on the 2nd floor. However, as I neared the gift shop, I could tell that it seemed a bit dark, and once I walked right up to it, I could see that A metal gate blocking the entrance of the gift shop had been pulled down as the store was closed for the day. A bit taken... Okay, you say a bit taken back, it's taken aback, but...
I've learned this since we've gone over this the first couple times. So you'll start seeing it correct somewhere in like the 20s.
Nah, we don't need it corrected. I told you, I don't want you correcting. I like to correct you, but I don't want you correcting it. I walk over the other side of the second floor where a cafeteria was located. I spoke to a couple of employees serving food and inquired about the hours of the gift shop. They notified me that the gift shop is open between 1:30 p.m. and 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. This is extremely annoying because I'm usually working during those hours. How am I supposed to buy the scale speakers if they aren't open during any of the hours I'm off work?
Yeah.
How did you get it the first time?
I got off early.
Oh, that's okay. There we go. I'm frustrated as I begin to walk out. As I round a corner to start heading downstairs, I run into a security guard who was patrolling the halls of the hospital. I decide to take this opportunity to complain to the... What is the security officer going to do about it? To complain...
I just wanted to complain to somebody.
To the security guard about the ridiculous hours the hospital gift shop has. I explained to him that I have to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. For some reason, I also feel it is necessary to tell him that my wife works 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. Take that. Shove it. Anyway, having to
All
work...
this to get her friends the scales.
Yeah.
Just tell them to get off their fat asses and go get
Go get your own scale. Anyway, having to work these hours makes it almost impossible to get to the gift shop while they are open. And for this reason, how on earth am I supposed to buy the scale speakers? I don't know why you went... Because I feel like a British person would say, how on earth? How on earth am I supposed to buy the scale speakers that my wife wants me to get? See, the well-mannered security guard sympathizes with my plight. See, I think you wanted me to go British there. Nobody, you just wrote in British. Sympathizes with my plight and tells me about how he too must work 10-hour shifts 4 days a week, and that it does make it very difficult to get errands done that need to be accomplished during standard business hours. I thank him for taking the time to hear me out and let him know that I will just go home and order the scale speakers on Amazon and wait the 2 days to have them delivered. That is a good, good decision.
I'll show that gift shop. They're going to go out of business because they have crappy hours.
Well, I think the purpose of like hospital gift shops are really to cater to the people that are in the hospital anyway. It's not like, I know in your dream they were doing like commercials and everything, but really, I think that it's just like another way for, you're sitting there waiting in the waiting room. Oh, let's go look at the gift shop.
Doesn't your wife work in this hospital?
I know.
Can't she go at like a lunch and grab it?
I don't know. I don't specifically remember her telling me whether or not she worked at this particular hospital. I felt like she worked at a different hospital, though.
Okay.
But that was just a gut feel.
Just as I am about to resume my walk downstairs, I hear screaming coming from the lobby below. The layout of the entrance area of this hospital is laid out as follows. When you first walk into the hospital, it opens up into a large 2-story atrium-looking expanse. What?
Does that make sense?
I like atrium. What's an expanse?
Like it's like an open area.
So an atrium.
Oh, fine, whatever.
It's not atrium looking, it's an atrium. To your immediate left, there is a carpeted ramp that follows the outer edge of the building, turning 90 degrees. it's at each corner. This is literally what he's noticing in his dream. It almost kind of reminds me of that Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
as
yeah.
he's like going in, and he's like,
everything slows
Yeah.
down.
Like how he explains how he's going to beat somebody up.
"Yep, entrance of the area hospital laid out as follows. When you first walk into the hospital, it opens up into a large 2-story atrium-looking expanse. To your immediate left, there is a carpeted ramp that follows the outer edge of the building, turning 90 degrees at each corner. But all the while, it sloped upward at an incline. This is one way that someone could get in from the first floor to the second floor and vice versa. On the first floor, in the area that the ramp wraps around, is a nice waiting area full of seats and couches. Along the outside of the ramp is a garden area that is raised to about hip height and is home to various exotic tropical plants. Anyway, back to the screaming.
I need to like set up the scene, like this is what we're dealing with here. I don't remember it being so long, but
So much. I'm so glad to know that the ramp is in the garden area it is raised about hip height. Back to the screaming. I am upstairs and can see the lower lobby area from the top portion of the ramp by looking over the railing. When my eyes peer over the edge, I almost can't believe what I'm seeing. I can see a giant cow-sized iguana lunging at and attacking a poor woman. The forces of this creature pouncing on top of her was enough to push her from the lower portion of the ramp over the railing and into the section of the tropical garden. Several close-by patrons run toward the woman and begin hitting the giant lizard, trying to ward it off. One of them must have gotten in a decent blow, as the iguana suddenly turned around and scampered off out of the front doors of the hospital. I was half expecting you to go, must have gotten in a decent blow, as the iguana turned around and said, "Ow!"
that was hard.
That really hurt. I don't know why everybody is British in this, but it has to be.
Even the iguana.
Yeah. I then turned to the security guard, whose eyes were as wide as mine, and asked, "Are your eyes as wide as mine?" Because they look it. Just see him. I know this is totally something that you'd have to see, but I just see Danny just like looking at the guard and just being wide eyes and just turning like, "Oh my God. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" You have to be, because you're not blinking like me. But his eyes are as big as mine, and I ask, "Is this normal for this area?" All he can get out at the moment is a muffled, how can you muffle no? No. No.
Kind of, yeah, like that.
No.
No.
You try and muffle no.
Wait, hold on. Oh. No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
After the security guard and I finish exchanging glances, we both start running down the ramp toward where the woman had been attacked. We talk to others. What? He's automatically thrust in to like, now he's got to solve the crime.
I know.
He's joining the security guard. He's just a bystander too. It's like, all I was doing was coming to get freaking scales speakers, and now I'm going to help the security guard solve the case of the cow-sized iguana.
I might as well do something since I've come all this way.
We talk to others who, like, you're... Did you bring a notebook to write down what they're saying?
It's like
We
Blue's
talked
Clues.
to others who also witnessed the heinous crime to try and get a better handle on what it was that occurred, what exactly that creature was, and why it attacked the woman. Unfortunately, no one seemed to know any more than we did. Eventually, a group of us got together and decided we would pursue the creature in hopes of getting additional answers. He's just like running after him. He's like, "Excuse me, iguana creature, why did you attack that old woman? I would like a statement."
You guys can't see that, but he's like holding an imaginary tape recorder.
This is why we need a camera. Each person was paired up in groups of 2. I was personally paired up with a tough, but... Why are you always paired up with these people? He's never paired up with some dude. I was personally paired up with a tough, but very cute and athletic Latino woman.
It's my dream. Like, wouldn't you rather be paired up with a woman than a dude?
Well, I guess. But what made... Okay, and maybe you get into this, but why did you say that she was athletic?
She just looked athletic.
Was she just wearing tennis shoes?
Like, honestly.
He's like, you know, I've been a detective for about all of 30 seconds now when I was followed that security guard down to ask questions, and I can deduce that those tennis shoes mean that you play tennis. Am I right?
I just remember she was wearing like nice tight jeans. Why? And she had like kind of like a wife beater, like type of material looking like tank top.
Okay.
And then she had like a little over shirt on it, but it was kind of like flannel, like patterned.
Okay.
But then it kind of like tied at, like on the belly, like in a little bow.
Okay. I follow her out to her car. We got in and started driving up and down the streets of the region near the hospital. Not long after we began patrolling the area, the Latino woman expressed to me that she thinks she saw something that looked like the creature get into a car down the street. See, at that point, I'd be like, all right, you're cute, darling, but you're dumb as bricks. A large cow-sized iguana got into a car. That sounds like the beginning of a horrible joke. Her plan is to now ram our vehicle into the car at full speed. Yeah, she's dumb. At full speed in hopes of killing the lizard and stop its tirade over the city. I really don't want
Has
any...
it been tirading?
Apparently.
I mean,
Wasn't it just one
it took
incident
out
so
that
far?
woman. That's all I know.
But it's a tirade. At what point in time does an attack just become a tirade?
It's a fine line.
I really don't want any part of being in the vehicle when it rams into the other car, so I reach down to quickly undo my seatbelt so that I may jump out of her car before she hits the... Wow.
So you just bail that easy, huh?
At that point, she's going
Action-packed.
as fast as she can go, and you're bailing out. That's brave.
Yeah.
And you said that I may jump out of her car before she hits. I thought it was just before she hits the other. So it was like you'd probably just fly out into the other car anyway.
Could jump out, but just directly into the other car.
Crappy for me. When I look down to unlatch my seatbelt, I no longer have just one seatbelt on, but instead have about 20 seatbelts on. Each seatbelt a different color. Knowing what it Knowing what is about to occur, I frantically begin cutting through each seatbelt one by one with a pocket knife that I apparently appeared out of thin air and ended up in my hand. How convenient.
You got to get out of the seatbelts.
It's like, what is... I don't remember putting all of these seatbelts on. Like, I got to get out of here. How? Apparently one click is not good enough. I have... Clicking 20 times is too fat or too long. I wish I had a pocket knife. Dream gods. Oh, just like everything just materializes. I now have this pocket knife cut through all the colors of the rainbow.
That was very rainbowish because there's so many colors.
Meanwhile, the crazy Latino woman floors it, barreling down on her target at faster and faster speeds. Just as I'm about to cut through the last seatbelt, the car smashes into the other vehicle head-on at full speed.
So you would have been safer had you just kept all 20 on. And it's thank God it was right before you cut through that last one that you hit the car, because that's the only thing that saved you now.
She's just looking at you and she's like, you think I'm stupid? I kept all my 20 on.
20 times safer.
Yeah, that's true. I could literally cut through 19 and then took the brunt of the accident.
For a moment, everything went black. It takes me a bit to regain consciousness. It's amazing that you actually lost consciousness while being unconscious.
I remember like coming to, and it was like that in movies where they always portray like when a bomb goes off and someone's
like all
close
hazy
and stuff, and they have like that ringing,
blurry,
that
yeah.
and they're like trying to like look around and figure out what the heck just happened. That was pretty much how it felt.
But I come to just in time to see the creature exit the vehicle we had just careened into. He approached us and asked us for our insurance cards. Although the creature was no longer a giant iguana, but instead was more humanoid looking. I believe Danny dreams more about humanoids than he dreams about anything else.
The funny thing is, like when I'm writing these dreams down, it doesn't even occur to me that I had all these other humanoid dreams. And then when you read them, I'm like, oh yeah, that was like the fourth time we've mentioned humanoid.
He's like, well, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a creature, but it's also human. It's like a humanoid. And he does that in every dream. He just doesn't know. If he doesn't know how to explain what it is, it's humanoid. It's at this moment that I realized that this monster was not just a lizard, but was actually a shapeshifter. In a bit of a panic and not quite knowing what to do next, I decide my best course of action is to play dead. So that's exactly what I do. I put my head down on the dashboard and lay perfectly still as the shapeshifter approached the driver side window. The driver's side window.
Did I have too many words like that?
I think you could, yeah. I mean, unless the window is very important to this next line, but I would have just said approach the driver. The monster then reached in and grabbed the woman by the neck. It was difficult not to move as I could hear the poor woman scream and struggling in the creature's tight grasp. He's just got his head down and he's like, don't look up. No matter what happens, just let her die.
Yeah, now it looks like I'm a jerk. But when I was dreaming, it was self-preservation.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's all in the name of self-preservation. And the fact that you still have to buy those 2 scales. The shapeshift. Wait. Okay, struggling in the creature's tight grasp, yet as quickly as the screaming started, it went completely silent. The shapeshifter then placed the woman's body back into the car and fled the scene. He's like, all right, there we go. Hands at 10 and 2. Now it just looks like she died naturally. I slowly lifted my head and looked over to see what horrid things the evil animal had done to this woman. Luckily, overall, the woman seemed okay. She had passed out, but was not bleeding too bad and was breathing just fine. The only issue I could see was that the monster had shaved the woman's head. Bicked it. Like J.I. Jane.
J.I. Jane.
Is that what I wrote?
Like J.I. Jane. Like J.I. Jane style.
That's such a crucial letter. J's and G's, you know, they're so similar.
He picked it. J.I. Jane style. This lizard has a weird fetish for shaving women's heads. After this traumatic experience was all over, I headed home to get some rest. Once home, I fell asleep quickly, but was awoken by the sounds of voices just outside my window. I looked out of the bedroom window and could see my son Kai and his cousins standing outside with a chainsaw in hand. Kai then revved up the chainsaw and began cutting a hole into the front of the house. I started yelling at him to stop, asking him, "Why are you cutting into the house?" But it was as if they couldn't hear a word I was saying. At this point in time, I could see that something was just a tad bit off with the picture I was seeing through the window and realized that this was no ordinary window, but was a portal instead. Kai was not at my house, but was at someone else's house cutting into their exterior wall. Either way, that's bad, Kai. Whether you're cutting
Or is it?
Is it? I don't know. I could see what looked like hornets starting to fly out of the hole in the house and swarm around Kai and his cousins in the front yard. They didn't seem to be too put off by it. There's just so many little tiny words in that sentence. They didn't seem to be too put off by it, as if they were expecting the hornets to be there. I leaned in closer to the portal window to get a better look, but must have lost my balance and fell through the portal and popped out on the other side. I landed in a sort of awkward somersault in a foreign bedroom, but I didn't have long to assess my surroundings as I was immediately engulfed in a swarm of hornets. I ran out of the room, swatting at the flying pests with my arms, and ran into one of Kai's cousins in the hallway. They were now pulling down part of the ceiling and had already punched large holes in the interior walls, exposing a giant hornet's nest that had been built throughout the entire interior of this home. Every wall, ceiling, and floor was full of honeycomb that apparently hornets make. I was unaware that hornets make honeycomb.
These are special hornets.
These are honey-making hornets. I asked them why they are here. The hornets? Or, oh no, the cousin. Why are you here, hornets? I asked them why.
What voice is that?
I don't
Why
know.
are you here, hornets?
It was more of like a, I don't know. When I do that voice, I kind of picture like an old like 50s cartoon. Like, why are you here, hornets? I don't know. I asked them why they are here and what they are doing, and let me know that they had reason to believe that this house had become one giant hive, and for this reason that there were giant hornets living and growing inside. It was their job to eradicate these pests before they ended up killing somebody. Suddenly, my attention was diverted to a robot on wheels, trekking through the house. What is the robot for? I ask. They let me know that the robot will let them know when the house is clear. Clear for what? I reply. Just then, another one of Kai's cousins slaps a plastic explosive device on the wall above a door frame. How old are these kids? Like, I imagine, like,
well, Kai's the youngest one. His cousins that he hangs out with all the time are like 18 and 16.
I still don't think they should be playing with plastic explosives.
They're using explosives to kill all the hornets that are embedded everywhere in the house.
I also think that they are,
whole house is gonna blow
destroying
up.
so much that it would cost more money to rebuild what they are destroying instead of just calling an exterminator. And just going at it that route. But, that's just me.
I don't know. It's not my house.
Yeah, but you're also apparently not stopping them. The explosive have some sort of adhesive on the back as it is able to stick to the wall with ease. I know it's fine to put these. It's just the way that they end on the paper. I'm like, able to stick to the wall with ease. I don't know. Kai and his cousin yell, "Time to head!" and run out of the house. I quickly follow suit. Oh, it is. Okay.
I don't want to be in there when the explosive.
The moment I saw a plastic explosives, I've been like, yeah, I'm out.
Get the hell out of here.
As I catch up to them on the front lawn, I tell them to hold on and wait before setting off the explosive. I explained that I was pretty sure that I saw a couple people that were still inside the house. They said not to worry, that it would be a funny prank. And with that, the explosive went off with a loud bang. Don't worry, Dad. Murder's a funny prank. The explosion wasn't accompanied by a ball of fire, just so you know. Like you'd expect from an explosion in a movie, but instead set off an extremely high-paced cloud of poisonous gas that moved through every nook and cranny of the home in a flash. As the smoke began to clear, a person standing out on the front lawn with us asked if the poison would take effect right away. Kai's cousin responds by telling them that the gas should take effect immediately. If you have already breathed it, you're dead. Sure enough, hornets started falling out of the sky like rain. That would hurt. They got their like stingers exposed.
I had a hornet umbrella, luckily.
Landing on top of the house, the grass, the cars in the driveway, etc., etc. After the initial downpour of normal-sized hornets, large, softball-sized hornet carcasses started hailing down all around us. There were a handful of those large hornets that were not quite dead from the poison, yet that started to fly around us in retaliation. However, they were so weak from the poison in their system that all it took was a solid slap with your hand as they approached, and the next thing you knew, they crashed. This is the hardest. What? Next thing you knew, they crashed straight into the ground, dead on impact. A few minutes later, the front door of the house opened, and the robot emerged from a hazy fog that lingered inside and announces in a loud robotic voice, "All clear." This is when I wake up.
What happened to the lizard? Lizard just strangles a Latino woman that you teamed up with, unconscious, shaves her head, places her back in her car, runs away, and then you just deal with hornets the rest of the time.
Yeah, I don't control. Well, I guess technically I am controlling it, but not consciously controlling what happens.
So I want to go back to the fact that you guys left the robot in there to die in the explosion. And it kind of reminds me of the scene from The Sandlot when they blow up the treehouse on accident, but there's still one kid left in there. And he finally emerges from all the dust and he's like shaking it off and he's like, I think we're going about this all wrong. But I just see like the robot coming out and he's like waving his hand up and he's like, I'm okay. Thumbs up. Don't worry about me.
Well, no, that was the robot's job, was to stand there and let him know
when the hornets are gone.
Yeah.
But you left him in there to explode.
Because you didn't know it was gas. You thought it was an explosion, right?
Yeah. So, I'm just saying. Nobody really cared about the robot. Whatever his name is.
Well, better a robot than flesh and blood.
I guess. Were you guys all standing out on the lawn with like masks, like gas masks? And the neighbors coming by, he's like, hey, those are nifty little things. What is that? My lungs. They're burning.
No, we didn't have anything, but it was just like, it was a very precise, contained explosion that was like a flash. Just like I said, it was like.
Because that's going to.
Just in case you guys didn't know,
are gonna know
what that was. That was. So you picture that in your head. What you should be picturing is a puff of poisonous gas smoke exploding outward and then immediately being sucked back in. Like it's going into a black hole.
That was pretty precise.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, as we do every episode, we'd like to kind of dig in and figure out maybe what you were feeling.
I feel like I wish you would have just gone further with the lizard guy.
I know. I'd
I don't
rather
know what the hell that was all
I
about.
care about the
right?
hornets. I'm really curious. Is this just like a changeling that is going around shaving women's heads?
Is that what happened to Britney Spears back in the day?
She was attacked by a shape-shifting giant iguana.
He's just walking around and he's like squeezing their necks until they pass out. He's like, just pass out so I can shave your head. Come on. Meanwhile, Danny's just has his head down and no. I don't know what's going on, but I'm safe. If I can't see him, he can't see me. Maybe I'll just hold my breath.
It's hard to play dead when things are happening right next to you.
Oh man, he can see my belly moving from breathing. Shoot.
The more I try not to breathe, the more I gotta breathe.
I know. It's like when you're playing hide and seek and you're just like trying to be quiet or all you want to do is just go. Or also,
it's like when you're fighting sleep, though. Like, have you ever been like driving? You're like, I can't fall asleep. I can't fall asleep. And the more you try not to fall asleep, the more you fall asleep.
Well, I mean, maybe. I try not to fall asleep when I'm driving.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah. So here are some of the words that we were able to. That Dan looked up, and so I guess
On
dreaming
dreammoods.com.
So if you dream about a scale, it signifies a decision you need to make, and that makes sense. Still don't like. I still think that at the end of every single one of these, it should be like, or you could just be dreaming about a scale.
But it makes sense because it's like the balance.
Yep. If you're dreaming about a speaker, it indicates that you are demanding to be heard. So if you combine the two, you are demanding to be heard about a decision you need to make.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you dream about iguanas, it represents harshness, cold-heartedness, or fierceness. You approach situations or problems with both hostility and unstoppable determination.
Dun, dun, dun.
A little hostile. Shapeshifters or metamorphosis denotes sudden and rapid changes in your personal life. If you dream about a seatbelt and or 20 of them in color, suggests that you need to work on controlling your emotions. Try to stay composed and do not fall apart in any situation. So you need to take that and just do it 20 times. If you dream about a portal or a door, signifies new opportunities that are presented before you. You are entering into a new stage in your life and moving from one level of consciousness to another. I think that we could do like our own dreammoods.com.
Yeah.
Like just take these things and be like, oh yeah, a door. It means a new opportunity in life. When one door closes, another
one
opens. Yeah. Bees symbolize wealth. They're not bees, they're hornets.
Well, I think I couldn't find hornets.
Why? I've seen tons of things on here that there's a shapeshifter on here. There's not a damn hornet. Bees symbolize wealth, good luck, harmony, creativity, and bliss, also symbolic of hard work. And honey. It doesn't say that, but I think it should. It means that you wanted honey.
Yes. That was the decision I was making.
There you have it. Dream-isode number 16, Shapeshifter Scale Speaker. And I'd like to know, yes, Alan, I would love to know more about this creature.
The shape-shifting.
I think somebody,
iguana.
I mean, I don't have enough time for this, but I would love somebody to just take that as a character and just turn it into a story. A shape-shifting humanoid.
Like, what's the background
Yeah.
on him that he just needs to shave heads?
Shape-shifting humanoid.
Is he like taking the hair and donating them for cancer victims?
Who's a
locks of love.
a serial head shaver. But it's kind of a little sick because he needs them to pass out first. So he's got this like fetish of strangling women, but then shaving their heads, and then putting them back to where they were, so that when they wake up, they're just like, "Oh, what happened? My hair's gone.
I look like J.I. Jane.
I am J.I. Jane." We should also have a character named J.I. Jane that is not in the army, because she would not be in the army. She would just be...
She would be a good-looking, athletic Latino woman.
And maybe you called it J.I. Jane because that's what she called it. You know, the translation, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. But J's in Spanish are silent. So wouldn't it just been I Jane?
Well, no, not when you're saying like the actual letter. It's not like they just don't have a J. It's actually more of an H sound than anything. So
hi Jane.
It would be Jota. Jota E. Jane.
Jota E. Jane.
But anyway, there you have it. Dream-isode number 16 in the books. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Be sure to catch us on our website, qcopodcast.com. Let us know what you thought. And then also, if you have an idea for the Lizard Man, let us know there. Also, catch us on our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at QCO Podcast. And, of course, be sure to go to our YouTube channel. I keep wanting to say page. Channel, and hit subscribe. we would really appreciate that. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Also, go in and rate us 5 stars. We like that. And it also helps us out. So appreciate it, and we will see you next week.